Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already seen by the title, today's video is going to be about my scoliosis back surgery and my experience. And I also wanted to give a couple tips to people who may be going through surgery soon or thinking about going through surgery, or they're recovering right now and they want some tips on how to just get through it a little easier. I just want to let you guys know right off the bat that this video might be lengthy and it's gonna be graphic. I'm gonna insert some images because I think it's really important that you guys see different pictures and the progress that I made. So yeah, go ahead and keep on watching. Please comment down below. Let me know if you have any other questions. I'll be more than happy to reply to you guys or anything. So let's get started and dive right in. It has been almost 6 years since my back surgery. It happened on January 18th. I still can't believe that it's even been that long. It feels like it was just yesterday. And I am so blessed with my support system and my family and my friends and everybody that I had around me. It was incredible, and there was no way I would have gotten through it without everybody. So I just wanted to thank everybody who was involved. My parents, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my brothers, my sister, my friends, my grandparents, everybody. There's just such a wide list of people who contributed to my support, and I could never thank everybody enough. Moving right along. But let's start off with how I found out. So it's actually quite an interesting story. We didn't know I had it growing up as a child. It had just never occurred to us. I don't think we've ever met anybody in the family who had it. It wasn't even thought of until the test that was performed. So at my high school, what they did, sorry, it wasn't even high school, it was junior high, actually. They perform a test as, I guess it's a requirement. I'm not really sure why they did it, but they performed a test and they basically bent me over and they had like like a measuring stick of some sort, and I got a letter sent home and it said, your daughter needs to be evaluated. You need to see a doctor. And we were like, that's weird, like what's wrong with my back? I had never had any problems. I'd never felt, strange, nothing at all. So we went to the doctors, and what do you know? I was recorded at I think it was a 36. My first measurement was a 36. It was interesting to hear that because I was not even thinking. I didn't think anything was wrong. You just assume, like, what does the school know? I'm gonna go to the doctor and see them. But no, the doctor confirmed and they sent me to a specialist. My doctor was actually Dr. Todd Lincoln over at the Oakland Children's Hospital. The first appointment was sort of a rundown. He gave me a pamphlet, he talked to me and my mom, and he sort of told us, this is what you have, this is what you can do, this is what you should do, the choice is yours. So let me give you a little details about what's recommended. So for people who have the degree curvature of 0 to, I think it's about 15 or 20, they don't recommend anything. It's nothing concerning. As long as you're okay with it, you're fine. People who have the curvature from 20 to 40, that's where they start to get a little sticky and they start to say, okay, you know what? Maybe you should try a back brace. Maybe that'll help. Try it out. I personally wasn't a fan of this solution because I didn't really see it as a solution. You have to wear the back brace 23 hours out of a 24-hour day. And the only time you're allowed to take it off is if you're in the shower. And I knew deep down inside that I would not wear it. Honestly, it didn't even look comfortable. It wasn't what you'd even expect. That's what it looked like. It was hard. It just looked like you would be uncomfortable all the time. So I definitely wasn't interested in that option. You could always go to the brace if you're still in any curvature you want. It's just up to you, and it's not really to help your curvature and bring it back to normal. It just stops it where it was, and that was another problem with why I didn't want to do that. And once you're in the range from about 40 to 60, they actually recommend surgery, and they're like, okay, you know what, maybe you should start thinking about it and see what your options are. We decided to wait it out and see what was going on with my body. And because I'm really short, and so was my mom, and so is my biological father, so we thought, you know, there's not much more for me to grow. Like, what? I'll be fine. It's not a big deal. Little did we know, 6 months later, I get reevaluated and I hit a 61. 61. I was shocked. We had no idea. Our jaws dropped. We were not expecting that. Like I said before, I had never had any problems, any complications. I never felt any back pains, nothing at all. We were not mentally prepared. It was just, I'm still speechless now thinking about it. They jumped to a 60 and we determined surgery would be the best option. And to sort of give you a background, I don't really have the exact dates, but I do know that, I'm sorry, I'm having like a really hard time because I don't think I've ever really gone into detail about the whole story. I found out my initial curvature, which was, I believe, 36. About in the fall of 2011, and then in the springtime we went to my second appointment and it had jumped to a 61. And that's when we booked my surgery. My surgery was January 18th, 2012. I have an amazing mom. I'm so blessed to have her in my life. I can't even describe. She planned this out so perfectly, and she did it on purpose. I don't know what I would have done if she didn't do this. But in the Mexican culture, it's traditional to have a quinceañera when the girl turns 15. My 15th birthday was on January 15th, 3 days before my scheduled appointment. Thinking about it now, if I did not have the quinceañera, my mind would be all over the place. So we have my quinceañera. I'll show some pictures right here. And once that was done, it kind of set in. It was like, okay, now we gotta go run a couple errands and get everything situated for Wednesday. So let's go to the night before. The night before, I couldn't get any sleep. My appointment was, I believe, at 8, but we had to be there at like 5:30 in the morning. So I didn't get any sleep. So my mom actually signed me up to be a guinea pig. And at the time I was like, what? But now thinking about it, I'm really glad I did it. Traditionally, the pain medication is put in through an IV and it goes through bloodstream that way. What they did for me was they used an epidural technique. So instead of it going through an IV and going into my veins, it actually went directly to my back. So I just want to let you guys know that and keep that in mind as we continue the story. And then the moment came where they wheeled me in and I had to say goodbye. And I think that was the hardest part. Just having that feeling, because you don't know if you're gonna come back okay. And I will never forget this moment. And the nurse says, okay, it's time to go. I just broke down. Continuing on, so they wheel me into the room, and then the doctor put on some music and I passed out. My surgery was 8 hours long. I don't really remember much of my hospital stay. It's really hard for me to recall things that happened. I have bits and pieces of memories, but I was, for the most part, really drugged out. Family members tried to come in and visit me while I was in the hospital, and it sucked because I was just out of it, and I don't really remember anybody coming to visit me. So if I do recommend one thing, I would say tell your family members to wait until you get home for them to come see you. The next day, they actually made me get out of bed and walk. And that was by far, I think, the hardest thing I have ever had to do in my life. There's no better way to describe it than feeling like a baby who doesn't know how to walk. So because I was a guinea pig and they were trying the epidural treatment on me, I had a lot of doctors checking in on me and nurses, so I thought that was really cool. But I actually had a scary moment. My blood pressure was too low, and the next thing you know, monitors start beeping. And I hear a nurse. She comes in, she runs in, she looks at me, she looks at my monitors, she runs outside, code blue, code blue. I was like, what? And I was just laying there, and there was about 15 doctors and nurses around me, like around my little bed. And that also sucked because my parents were gone. They had just gone out to eat, and my mom hadn't left my side at all until that moment. And my dad was like, come on, we gotta go eat, you have to get out of here, blah blah blah. And she's like, all right, fine. And he convinced her to go, and she left, and this thing happened, and that was fine and everything. But then the doctor came in and he was like, look, you need to eat if you want to get out of here. I could not eat, and that's why I stayed in the hospital for so long. I stayed in the hospital for a week because I didn't have an appetite, and I felt like eating was gonna make me throw up. So I finally eat, and I finally get to go home. All is well, and the recovery process starts. I'm not gonna lie, the recovery process was tough. I definitely hated swimming. My God, I hated it so much, but she made me go every day like I was supposed to, and I'm glad. I also walked all the time, and I would have to say that I haven't gained full mobility, because there's certain restrictions that I have. It's sort of like I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a point of which I know where I can't do that. I think the recovery period took about 2 months for me. So I wanted to share some photos with you guys from my recovery. It was a process. It definitely took a while. So I go to my checkup appointment, and it was my first checkup appointment, and we go over my progress and what's expected and how I was feeling and how I was doing. And the doctor actually pulls up the before, the after. He tells us, yep, from the summer of 2011 to the fall of 2012, your curvature went up to 71. If I hadn't had back surgery, where would I be? Fast forward to now, I'm fine for the most part. You know, when it's cold, it hurts more often than usual, but that's normal with any type of surgery that you have any metal inside of you. Now I'm gonna get into some tips. First and foremost, I think it's really important that you focus on yourself. You know your limits, and if your body's telling you no, you better stop. Next up, the doctors and nurses really love this. I put my hair in 2 French braids. So it just made everything so much easier. My hair was out of the way, it wasn't in my face, it wasn't on my back, like it was under control, and the doctors and nurses loved it. So I definitely recommend taking your own pillow to the hospital. It makes you feel so much more at home, and it gives you the comfort that you're kind of missing in a hospital because you're not home. Next thing, I also recommend having at least 3 pillows at home for when you get home. You definitely need a body pillow. You definitely need a memory foam, like hard type of pillow, and then whatever pillow you sleep with. The doctor recommends that you move your body throughout the night because they don't want you to lay flat on your back for the full 8 hours. I used the memory foam pillow, and I sort of shoved it behind my backside and then had the body pillow right here in my front and then my head pillow, and it was comfortable, and each time we'd get up, we'd switch side to side. So I definitely recommend that. I had my godmother sleep with me throughout the process because when you first get home, you have to be taking your medications around the clock or else you are gonna scream. So you definitely need that. Another thing, my doctor really didn't give me physical therapy or recommend me to physical therapy. He sort of said just work at your own pace. So what my mom did is we actually went to a pool and I learned how to swim again. And when I say I learned how to swim again, I literally learned how to swim again because you get back in the water and you're like, what? Alright, so that concludes today's video. I just want to thank you guys for sticking around and listening to my story. I'm hoping that you guys take something out of it. Maybe it'll help you or a friend or a cousin or anybody. Please like and share my video. Subscribe to my channel before you leave. Let me know in the comment section down below if you have any questions or any recommendations for the next video. I have a couple things in mind, but we'll see how everything pans out. But yeah, thanks for watching.